Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dark Phoenix Gaming, and welcome to my brand new Let's Play of Pharaoh, which is a game that is so goddamn old that most of you have probably never heard of it. But because it's a bit newer, there is just a smidge of a chance you've heard of Caesar 4. Which I believe was made by the same people, Impressions Games. It's essentially a city builder. A very hardcore one, where you have a lot of stuff to keep your eyes on. And I've been playing a lot of it lately, so I wanted to be able to do a playthrough of it. So, that's what we're gonna do. I played the first era of the games a decent amount, which is what this particular series is going to be. I'm going to make each of the dynasties their own Let's Play is my plan. Because I just figure if there's a single dynasty /era you're more interested in, you can just go to that one and watch it. And the individual ones shouldn't be too long that way. Also, I hope you appreciate my sacrifice, because I have an upscaler mod to play this in 1440p. And yes, I'm going to do that. Now, I have an upscaler mod to play in 1440p, but that mod doesn't upscale the actual menus or the mission briefing screens. And I figured you might appreciate being able to actually read that stuff. So, as a result, I'm doing it and just playing in 1024 by 768 instead, despite having a 1440p monitor. I hope you appreciate that. But anyways, we are starting out in the Predynastic period. Your family begins the Predynastic period, leading a small band of nomads through their discovery of the arts of civilization. Your leadership helps to set Egypt on its course to eventual greatness, still glimpsed only dimly. And you do, in fact, have to this is an interesting thing. You have to finish everything in order. You can't just skip ahead to the thing that you think is cooler. So you have to go Predynastic, Archaic, Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, New Kingdom, then the Cleopatra stuff in order. Which is kind of neat. It gives it an interesting kind of structure that you can't just jump around and everything. I like that. Also, because they somewhat slowly...
It is said that a journey of 1,000
because
miles
things get slowly introduced over time in terms of the mechanics.
So
It makes
may
make
the
sure
story of a
you
great
have
nation begin
your
with
head
one
around things.
dream. The Red Land has given birth to such a dream. Clans of nomads carry it in their hearts.
Yeah, the cutscenes are in
Across the
640 by
immeasurable
480.
desert
There's nothing I can
and
do about
into
that,
the
sorry.
Land of Egypt.
Welcome to ancient Egypt, land of the pharaohs. Here you'll participate in the history of one of the greatest civilizations the world has ever seen. In an epic story that spans more than 15 centuries and 24 generations. You must lead one family, generation by generation, from its earliest beginnings in Egyptian prehistory, through the dawn of civilization, to the establishment of a unique and powerful empire and beyond. Our story begins more than 5,000 years ago, along the banks of the Nile River in an area known as Nukt. Here, a small confederacy of clans struggles to eke out an existence in the harsh environment. With you at its head, your family leads this small settlement.
Okay. So yeah, basically our objective for this first mission is to just build housing and get citizens arriving, as well as setting up basic requirements for people living in the area and all. So I'm gonna play on normal because I don't really want to do easy or very easy. I'm not quite that much of a pansy, but I'm not. This game can be fairly unforgiving at times, I found. So I'm not quite confident enough at my abilities to crank it up to either hard or very hard just yet. So we'll stick with with normal, just a good middle of the road setting, I find. Yeah, I will actually read the tutorial stuff, just because if you want to know what's going on, then that seems like a good way to do it. So, housing and roads are first major thing. The first things this village will need are housing to provide settlers with a suitable place to live, and a network of roads to allow its eventual inhabitants to find their way around easily and efficiently. Build areas of housing, and you'll soon see people move into the village. Click and drag them out to build long lengths of road at one time. At every intersection, walkers must choose which way to go, so each intersection lessens your control over their actual routes. Plan roads carefully with as few intersections as possible to ensure that people walk where you want them to. The path by which these immigrants reach your city is known as the Kingdom Road. Migrants always need free passage from the Kingdom Road to the city's housing areas. If you isolate some neighborhood from this vital link to the outside world, its homes will simply disappear. Okay, and I'm going to pause. But here's an interesting fact with Pharaoh that other games in the series, like Caesar 3 and I think Zeus as well, don't have. If you're paused, you actually can't build things. It won't let you. You have to do the building while unpaused. Of course, while you're doing active building, like say dragging down a road and all, that will stop the game while you're in the process of doing so, which is kind of nice. But yeah, we just need housing, essentially. This main road here is how citizens will reach you. And I'm gonna just set up an independent sort of housing district here. So we need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit shorter than I would normally do, because we don't really have the space. I kind of picked a bad spot for this. So, under normal circumstances, I would go back and restart, but it actually doesn't matter too much, since all we're really going to need to do here is housing and some basic services. But and I did have to look this up to figure out how to do it, but a loop of 7 wide by 16 or 17 long is what works best, I find, for housing. Just because it lets me put enough housing on the outside area to maximize my use of space. And I find that to be the most effective way to do things. We don't have access to a lot of the services we're going to need just yet, because for the moment people are arriving. Once they do, it'll start demanding we give them food and water and such. But for now, they're just showing up. And as you can see, the migrants start flooding in. And just because all your houses are inhabited, that doesn't necessarily mean, as I've learned, that you need more houses to get more migrants. As multiple people and families can fit in one of these little shanties. We'll get into how this works later, but in actuality, you're more likely to just need to upgrade an existing home more than anything else to get more workers. Yeah, food is our next thing. A growing population needs a reliable source of food and some means of storing and distributing it. Certain animals, like the ostriches in this region, can be hunted for game. Granaries store game and other foods, while bazaars distribute the food to the village's inhabitants. As with most working structures, in order to function properly, these buildings must be located within reach of housing, and the city must have enough workers to staff them. Hunting for food. Build a hunting lodge close to the ostrich flocks, and hunters will set out in search of prey. If successful, they'll bring the carcasses back to the lodge to be butchered, after which a cart pusher even, will deliver them to the nearest granary for storage. Different workers from the bazaar assess the needs of the neighborhoods they serve, acquire food from nearby granaries, and deliver the food to the houses in their immediate vicinity to meet those needs. Build granaries and bazaars by clicking on storage and distribution. Ultimately, your goal in this mission is to transform some of your crude huts into meager shanties. This is accomplished by providing them with water and food from the bazaar. Also, make sure they're not too close to any unsightly industrial buildings or inferior housing, which discourage home improvements by lowering the desirability of the area. You will eventually learn various ways to increase an area's desirability. For now, though, simply avoid locating homes too near to industries. An overseer of the granaries is now available to provide information and advice. In time, you'll have many advisors to help run your city. To access them, click on the overseer's icon or right-click on the appropriate building. Okay, so yeah, we don't want the hunting lodge or granary or bazaar located right in that central area for my housing, because people don't like that. It makes their neighborhood unsightly. So I'm going to actually just put the granary. Oh, that counts as an animal breeding ground, I guess. So instead I'll put it right there.